Good evening, this is News.PH, but it's not politics as usual. I'm Pia Hontiveros. Back-to-back-to-back issues tonight on the show. First up, Secretary Arsenio Balisacan of the National Economic Development Authority to tell us about the Philippine Development Plan midterm update and the so-called jobless growth issue. In our second segment, Attorney Vanessa Gumban, legal counsel of the Share the Road movement, to tell us about a petition they filed before the Supreme Court to get the government to share the roads. In our last segment, Attorney Francis Acero, petitioner against Republic Act 10175 or the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. He talks to us about yesterday's ruling by the High Tribunal. We begin tonight with NEDA Secretary Arsenio Balisacan. Sir, thank you for being here. Can you tell us first what prompted this midterm update of the Philippine Development Plan that you presented in Malacanang before the Malacanang press corps on Monday? Because, you know, there is this whole impression that early last week when the survey of the SWs came out tungkol sa unemployment rate, nag-react daw ang palasyo, nagulat daw ang presidente kung bakit ganun daw. Nagpatawag ng cabinet meeting ng biglaan sa noong Tuesday, last Tuesday, and that's where you made your presentation, and then maya't maya pinag-present ka rin sa Malacanang press corps. What really happened?
No, that's a very inaccurate description of this updating of the midterm Philippine Development Plan is a regular activity of government. You have a 6-year cycle, right? And usually an assessment is done midterm. And we have done that. We started this as early last year, in fact. We started that process of reviewing our performance and looking at areas where we could improve, enhance. Essentially, there were several meetings involving several clusters of government. The first of the several meetings was this the economic roadmap, which we completed before the Yolanda. And then the second major part of this review was on the poverty reduction and employment generation roadmap, which was spearheaded by our Human Development and Poverty Reduction cluster. And this has been ongoing. We have had several meetings, and then the Yolanda came, so our work was disrupted by that attention that has to be given immediately to the Yolanda and other disasters, the Bohol. So it's then when we finally have this space to go back to the work, so that we could now release the document, the Philippine Development Plan update. And that was what we wanted to present to the President
so
last Monday.
Nagkataon lang. Ng SWS.
Yes, of course, we had nothing to do. That meeting had nothing to do at all with the SWS.
So hindi po totoo na nagulat ang Pangulo?
No,
bakit ganyan? Mag-report nga kayo.
Because that meeting was postponed a couple of times because
when
of the urgency.
When was that supposed to have been done?
This should have been done by November. Yeah, because it was supposed to be an update, a midterm, which this plan should have been completed in the second half of last year.
Okay, well, let's go to your presentation. So, ang presentation nyo nung Tuesday sa cabinet meeting, pareho din na i-present yun itong Monday, just this Monday, to the press corps?
More or less.
More or less?
Yeah.
Why? Did you leave out some things?
No, it's more or less in the sense that I had to elaborate a bit for the non-cabinet members, because in the cabinet I did not have to go through all the details, because they have seen many of the presentations in previous meetings.
Okay. Well, sir, to a non-economist like me, and I'm sure most of the viewers are, how do you explain that the Philippines did indeed grow by 7.2%, and yet there are still too many people without jobs?
Well, we should realize that this rapid economic growth that we are seeing is not a long-term phenomenon yet. We have only had this for the last 2 years, because in 2011 it was not really that high.
Okay.
And if we gauge this performance from the perspective of other countries, especially our neighbors, you need to have a reasonably long period of rapid growth to really make a dent on poverty and unemployment. We're talking about 8 to 10 years of rapid growth.
So we need 8 to 10 years of this so that we can see
we just
a reduction
need to get,
in poverty
we can,
and more jobs.
Yeah, we can get those reduction as we go along, but just to expect miracles to happen overnight, it does not happen.
Okay. Yeah. Would you agree then that, or some people would like to say that maybe the better indicator is the Human Development Index, jobs, education, safety?
Yes, in fact, the essence of the report is that to look at the problems of poverty from a multidimensional perspective, because poverty and income is just one of that dimension, but there are, we talked about poverty in terms of health, in terms of education, in terms of access to infrastructure, and jobs, empowerment. So if you put this into considerations, we do in fact are doing quite a good job in relation to, at least in relation to the kind of economic performance that we have so far.
Pero itong 27.5 unemployment figure from the SWS, this is the same that you have, right?
Well, no, ours is, the definition of the SWS is different from that of the official definition. What the SWS captures is the essence of joblessness, but what we use is unemployment. It's quite different. The SWS captures not only about the idle work or no work, but also the quality of work and the availability of that person for work. So whereas so it usually gives a much higher number than what the official number gives. But what's interesting to note, though, and what the media doesn't seem to have picked up well, is that if you actually look at the numbers of SWS comparing 2012 and 2013, it actually declined from 28.8% to about
27.5?
Yeah, something like that. So you actually saw a 3.6 percentage points decline, which is also consistent with what you see in even in the official statistics and even in our underemployment rate, which basically gives a better indication of the quality of jobs available, of employment available. You see there that it also decreased from about 20% to just a 1 percentage point below that, also during that period. And if you look at the, again, another internationally accepted measure of the quality of jobs, the proportion of your labor force in the wage and salary category. If that is increasing, that tells you that the quality of jobs available is increasing. And in the case of the Philippines, it's improved quite a bit, from 55% of the employed workers in 2011 to 58% by 2013.
But where are most of those jobs? BPO?
Well, no, wage and salary workers, they're everywhere, actually.
Everywhere.
The BPOs is just a very small proportion of that. Yeah, it's less than 1 million.
But we still do have a problem with unemployment.
Oh, right? We do have.
So we really need to produce more jobs. Where are we going to get all those jobs?
Now, in our Philippine development plans, in the update, we are looking at the high quality good sources of jobs creation. We are looking at reviving our manufacturing sector.
We've been talking about that for several years now.
Well,
we talk about it, we can't seem to revive
no, but
it.
I think if you look at the past 2 years, you now see some actually quite positive developments. You see now that investments in manufacturing is increasing. The growth rate of the manufacturing sector in 2013 is actually very respectable. It's double digit.
Can you be specific?
Well, it's quite widespread in the. It's not before when manufacturing grew. It was just semiconductors and electronics, and that's about almost 70% of our total exports. No? But now the importance of semiconductors and electronics has decreased a bit. The good thing about these other sectors that are coming in, like your garments, your chemical, the food processed food, these are more labor absorbing than the usual semiconductors and electronics.
Secretary, do we have a problem with operationalizing the term inclusive growth?
Well, in this update, PDP update, we put more. We shape the architecture of that better by looking at first at the sources of that of the growth in terms of the sectors, in terms of the space, the provinces, and when we say inclusiveness, we are talking about the participation of everyone, particularly those the bottom sectors of our society. And so it's really creating opportunities for everyone, particularly
So we do have a problem, or this is, as you say, just a case of there's no such thing as overnight miracles.
No, we have a problem, and we continue to have a problem for the next 20 years, and that problem has to do with sustaining the kind of interest, the kind of investment climate that we have now, because it requires a continuing process of reforms, institutional, economic, and there are challenges along the way. I mean, we fix one, but as that is about development. As you fix one, new problems emerge.
Crops up. Oh. So if we talk about percentages, Secretary, what percent? This may sound a little bit simple. Now, what percent of our country's population is rich? Meron ba tayong ganon? Rich, middle class, poor?
We don't really produce statistics that way. What we produce are the 10% of our population get X% of the total income. That's the one we.
Okay, so 10% of our population gets.
I don't have the number with.
Oh, it doesn't have to be exact. Just a rough.
That 10%. I would not be surprised if we would have 40–50%, but you know, I don't have the numbers with.
Okay, but the poor sectors are what? Kung 10% get 40–50% of the country's income, the poor is what?
The poor, as we define it here, is it's not has to do with the 10% or 20%, but the poor who represent about as of 2012, 25% of our population. 25% of our population, based on our official norm of poverty.
Yun po ba yung DNE?
Well, we don't define our population that way. I know that that is being used by the business community, but no. The 25% is, of course, is your the bottom two quintiles of your the bottom 25% of that population.
Okay, so bottom 25% of the population, are they? Remember, palagi merong, there's this saying that the poor are getting poorer, the rich are getting richer. Is that the case since 2010, or they are not getting any poorer, but they're not getting any richer either?
No, I don't. I think that's a very misleading statement.
Yes. So what is it now? What is it now?
Everybody is going, except that the poverty that we are seeing in this country is quite a structural. It's about being so poor for a long time because of lack of good jobs, lack of access to social services, and it takes a considerable time to move to that poverty line that we have constructed for the country. So what I'm saying is that you need to sustain the level of growth, but you can also improve the capacity of that growth to deliver poverty reduction if we can create the right type of growth. Like, and here in our plan, we are talking about sectors that can deliver good jobs, jobs that will employ the poor, like in manufacturing, that, for example, in tourism, in construction and logistics. Those are the kind of thing that we are looking at, including agribusiness.
Okay, we have a minute and a half before we say goodbye to you, sir, but I wanted to talk very briefly about your PowerPoint presentation. It's entitled Lessons Learned Midterm Assessment of PDP 2011 to 2016. We were showing bits and pieces of it earlier, but I wanted to ask you about what's in slide number 6. It's entitled, slide number 6 entitled Lessons Learned. Sorry, Lessons Learned. Number 1, good governance is an effective platform. That means, sir, that we are lucky we have an honest man for president.
I think so. That has really improved the way the world perceives us. That has improved business confidence. But even more so, when I talked about good governance here, it's not just about politics. It's just all about managing our economy also, particularly the way we manage our the fiscal sector, that we are living with our means. We do not spend just for the sake of spending. I think that has delivered good perception about us, and that has triggered the kind of investment response we are getting.
Okay. Well, to complete that sentence, so it says good governance is an effective platform upon which strategies should be implemented. Should, meaning futures. So they have not yet been implemented.
No, it's an ongoing
thing. Pero may kulang? Ganun po ba?
Reforms will continue. As I said earlier, it's an ongoing we have to fix a lot of these problems that we have had for the last so many decades, like fixing our infrastructure problem, for example. We have just now, we have seeing all this major infrastructure that are coming on stream, but we would need to be doing that for the next 10 years just to catch up with Thailand or with Indonesia. That's the kind of catching up to do. And as you go along, I'm sure you'll need a lot more reforms, like reforms for what to do with right of way, that is holding on to your ability to implement reforms, what to do with your environment. There are many of those that we have to fix, and it requires really a good political will to get our
but you're playing catch up with all these infrastructure projects.
Yes.
It would have been nice to have them online earlier, not in the last 2 years of the administration.
But I think that it's worth to have this, because in the meantime, we have fixed a lot of problems that could have put some of these problems on hold later, because we do have many of those initiatives in the past where only to end up with unfinished and unimplemented reforms because they were challenged in court, they were, the stints with corruptions and so on.
Final word, sir?
Well, I think that for our listeners, I do believe, and we do believe, that we would be able to solve and contribute to the solution of the key problems of our country, and it's the lack of employment and this poverty problem. And I think that in the next couple of years, you should be able to see the fruits of these reforms.
Next couple of years, next 10 years, ganon.
Well, it's ongoing thing. So the challenge is whoever will succeed the current president is also a big challenge. We'll face a big challenge of continuing those progress.
Okay, thank you very much, Secretary Arsenio Balisacan. Thank you, sir, for joining us. News.PH will be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News.PH on the Solar News channel. I'm Pia Hontiveros. Attorney Vanessa Gumban of the Share the Road movement joins us right now. Attorney Gumban, thank you for joining us. You filed this petition before the Supreme Court on Monday. Why the Supreme Court, first of all?
The petition is under the new rules of the Supreme Court on environmental cases, and these rules allow the filing of the petition before the Supreme Court or the Court of Appeals or any of its divisions.
Environmental case because?
This petition is about for the purposes of securing a writ of kalikasan and a writ of continuing mandamus. The petition is basically about encouraging the government to transform the country's roads into what it is today, into a more democratized system of transportation.
When you say democratized, you have percentages, no?
Well, not really. What we're trying to achieve with this petition is to encourage the government to allocate space for all modes of transportation, not just motor vehicles. But for example, if you want to walk, you'll have adequate space for walking, not just adequate space, but safe and clean and beautiful space for walking, spaces for people who want to use bikes.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to bring up an image. This one was provided by your movement. No?
Yes.
It's a how do you say it? A graphic rendering. I wanted to ask you about. We're going to show it now. Can we show it now so that we can ask Attorney Gumban about it? Tell us. You were saying already, no? You want adequate space for walking, etc. Can you describe that to us?
So they can see the picture.
Yes, they will
TV,
in a little while, in a few seconds.
So in that image, you can see that there is space for mass transportation. There's a train there, and
that on the right, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And on the left side, you have space for motor vehicles. And in the
left
middle,
side, where are the motor vehicles?
Here.
Okay.
There. So basically, you have space for mass transportation, space for people who have cars, and then on the leftmost side, you have space for sidewalks. And the sidewalks there are not the sidewalks what we have now.
Which ones are supposed to be the sidewalks? The ones to the left of the home, of the houses?
Yes.
Left of the houses or right?
Just in front of the houses, I guess.
Right in front of the houses.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking for the sidewalks. I can't find them. You know, these
then,
small, right in the middle, these small things, these are supposed to be the what? The bicycles or something?
Those are islands with plants on them.
Yeah, no, these ones. In between the islands and the trees.
Yes. In the middle, we propose to also have gardens in the middle of the roads.
Yeah. No, ito. Ano to? Motorcycles or bicycles or what? What are they supposed to be?
Modes of
all modes of transport. Yeah, because you know what?
Yes.
I'm looking for the cars and they're not here in this picture. And I'm thinking, galit talaga kayo sa mga kotse.
Well, no, it's not that we don't want cars on the roads.
Yeah.
We just want to apportion the roads so that it's proportionate to what the population has.
Yeah.
Because when we prepared the petition, it turns out that only 2% of the Philippine population own motor vehicles. But when you see the roads, almost the entire roads are given to motor vehicles.
Yeah, that's true in Metro Manila, right? Because if you go to the provinces, lalo na, you know, you don't see very many vehicles either on the roads unless it's a metropolis, no, an urban center.
But the road itself is designed for motor vehicles only. There are no spaces for bike lanes, no adequate space for sidewalks.
Okay, so that's what you're asking the Supreme Court to have the executive implement.
Right,
Tama?
because this system is actually already included in several administrative orders and one executive order.
What are these several administrative orders?
There's the Administrative Order number 171. This created the Philippine Task Force on Climate Change. And then it was reorganized under Executive Order 774.
Yeah.
And in this EO 774, there was an express mandate for the executive to implement a road sharing policy. in our roads, which is basically grounded.
Which is your
Right.
Proposal also.
Yes, this is
Okay.
this is our course of action. This road sharing policy essentially says that those who have less in wheels must have more in the road.
Okay, if you
In a
can get it
nutshell.
in the law. Okay, but is it realistic? I mean, given what's happening here in Metro Manila today, you know, just Monday night we started the construction of Skyway 3 in Osmeña, and then by April they're going to be hitting Buendia already, and then we're going to have we have other infrastructure projects
Right.
in the pipeline.
Right. I won't pretend to be a road expert, but we have consulted experts on the matter, and they said that it can be implemented, but not overnight. So it will be gradual. What we propose is that we do it one road, one day at a time, just to show everyone that it can be done, and then gradually expand the implementation.
And these experts that you consulted, which particular roads are they talking about na pwedeng one road at a time? Saan daw pwede mag-umpisa?
Well, of course, we can't begin on EDSA,
Yeah,
because everyone it will cause an uproar. So just the side streets at
Okay.
first,
Yeah.
just to show that it can be done, and then gradually move on to the bigger roads.
You want to start in Metro Manila?
Well, not specifically. We didn't really tell the Supreme Court what to do exactly, because the petition is the purpose of the petition is for the government to do its job, because this road sharing principle is already mandated by the executive. So we just want them to do their job, and then design an action plan on how to implement what is written in the law.
Okay. But you know, there are some people who would say na pwede yan siguro muna sa probinsya, pero mahirap dito sa Metro Manila.
Right.
Would you accept that?
We understand that Metro Manila will be the biggest challenge of this petition if and when it gets implemented.
Okay.
The law is implemented.
So what do you expect next? What's going to happen?
Once the petition is filed, usually the Supreme Court delegates the trial to the Court of Appeals. Once the Supreme Court delegates the trial to the Court of Appeals will send an order to the respondents, ordering them to file a return on the petition within 10 days.
Return on petition meaning?
To answer, essentially, to answer the allegations in the petition. After that, there will be a preliminary conference, and then trial begins.
Okay, so when do you think will trial begin?
In my experience, usually it takes the Supreme Court around 3 weeks or less to issue the order.
Yeah.
And then the 10-day period to file the return is non-extendable. So the respondents will answer within that period.
Yeah. Do you find that people take you seriously?
Well, yes. When we disseminated to the media what we're doing, we were pleasantly surprised that there were no violent reactions to our proposal.
What would the violent reaction have been like? Anyway.
Well, we imagine that people will, like what you said, that people will think that it can't be done because of what we see in Metro Manila every day. So ito na yung nakasanayan natin eh. And we're proposing exactly the exact opposite of what we see here.
Yeah. Do you have like champions in government? You know, government officials who think the same way you do, who agree with what you want?
I think I can't comment on that because the government is precisely the respondent in this petition.
But I'm sure you've talked to some of them. I mean, you consulted some of them, no?
We consulted Attorney Antonio Oposa. He's an environmentalist. And the idea actually came from him because I was his student in UP Law. And the idea came from him, essentially.
No, but you consulted government officials also. You know, it's
not really government
consulted
officials.
Or nakausap man lang?
We consulted science experts. We talked to a doctor. We talked to scientists specializing on climate change. and we talked to experts on road sharing.
But no government official?
No.
No one from the DNR, from the DPWH, from
No.
the MMDA,
No.
ganon? No. Okay. But you think that you will get somewhere with this?
Well, yes. Yeah. More than just winning the case, what our goal is that to change the mindset of not just the respondents but the population in general, to shift from a car-centric attitude to what I said earlier, to a democratized system of transportation.
Okay, final words, Attorney Gumban?
Well, I hope everyone would join us in transforming the roads of the country from what it is today to a more efficient, environmentally friendly, and more democratic transportation system.
Okay, thank you very much, Attorney Gumban of the Share the Road movement. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News.PH on the Solar News channel. I'm Pia Hontiveros. Attorney Francis Kiko Acero joins us in this last segment. Kiko is one of the petitioners against the anti-cybercrime law. And of course, yesterday, there was a ruling or decision by the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Wait a minute. No, we haven't actually seen the actual...
I think only the justices have seen the decision.
Yeah.
And it might be going through the rounds, they might be signing it. But what I'm sure of is that last night, yesterday, they voted on it, and most of a lot of the objectionable provisions were taken out, but some of the core provisions that really strike a chord remain.
Okay, well, tell us first about the petition you filed.
I filed with PIFA,
PIFA?
Philippine Internet Freedom Alliance.
Okay.
And we're the only ones who went out and tried to take the whole bill out. Because we feel that, for example, with spam, which the court adopted, that it unfairly discriminated between commercial and political spam.
Okay. What do you mean by unfairly discriminate? Commercial
Right.
political spam, these are the unsolicited text
Yes.
messages. Oh my
Yes.
God, I get a lot. But you know what, by the way, yesterday, when the
Right.
decision came out, wala akong natanggap na spam.
There you go.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Today it resumed.
But,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think all the spam operators were looking at it also.
Yeah, okay.
So, where's that? Cybersex is one of our things. We felt with the women's groups that were with us who filed that the provisions don't discriminate against the offenders and the victims, the people in front of the camera who are forced to go and do these things. So we were thinking, the test when it comes to the internet is whether it, especially because it's a free thought area. So if there are innocent people that get caught in the crossfire, the Supreme Court's job is to say, no, you can't do that. That crosses the line. In fact, the Supreme Court is just supposed to test whether it passes constitutional muster or not. And what it did here, by bending over backwards with libel, for example.
It bent over backwards?
Yes, to save the law. It said that it's constitutional only as to the original poster, but if you like or retweet, then you're not liable. Then that kind of puts strain on things. It stretches its role. The Supreme Court's role is to, just to say pass, fail, and then the bounds of what the state should be able to regulate. That's up to Congress.
Yeah. Well, why didn't they say na, okay, that's unconstitutional, yung online, even the original?
Again, we won't know until we see the decision itself. That's why the text of the decision is important.
Okay. This is not just a matter of decriminalizing libel. This is something I asked you, no?
Right.
Because, some people were saying, okay, di bala na, okay lang yan. Decriminalize nyo na lang ang libel. Why?
Yes, because there are other provisions here that make the internet actually a lot less safe. For example, the provisions on hacking, which don't distinguish between white hat hacking and black hat hacking.
Okay, what's white and black?
Right. White hat hacking are people who enter into supposedly secure systems and say, now, okay, this is where your weaknesses are, and here's a report. We'll leave it for you. Okay, but they do it without permission. That's how they test it. They test it through fire.
Okay.
Black hat hackers do it for malicious intent.
Okay.
So, you know, it makes the internet a lot less safe. System administrators do rely on these white hat hackers for their systems to get tested. You don't test a roof for leaks when the sun's out.
Okay. Okay. The Philippine
Internet Freedom Alliance.
Oh, passed the Magna Carta for Philippine Internet
that's democracy.net.ph. Yeah,
because they're saying that, okay, apart from, because of what's happened, because of what's happened yesterday, the Supreme Court ruling, that maybe we should push for this now. As a matter of fact, some of your members, I think, on Twitter, we're asking, we're tweeting the Senator Sani Angara, Senator J.V. Ejercito, ganon, ano. Pwede bang pag-usapan na natin to?
Right.
No?
Well, I believe that's the right thing. And it's not just because I'm part of democracy.net.ph that helped make the Magna Carta for Philippine Internet Freedom.
Yeah.
But it's because I think that the boundaries are, that's Congress's job. And we recognize, the president is right in saying that, there are, what the rights offline should be our rights online. The same thing, responsibilities offline should also be responsibilities online. That's correct. But when the responsibilities are different, then you have a problem. And you cannot go through that by giving law enforcement a wish list, saying, okay, this is what I want and this is what I'll get. It doesn't happen that way. You always have to look at it first through the framework of the Bill of Rights. Magna Carta for Philippine Internet Freedom does that. So when we created it, it was always rights-based first. So the court's role before searches and seizures is very pronounced there. So just as an example, what we define as cybercrimes actually affect cybercrimes. These are not just it's not just security theater provisions that make criminal what doesn't really need to be criminalized, or provisions that we don't believe will be as effective.
Okay. A while ago you were saying, for example, so original author lang, no? If you retweet, if you like, if you share, you are not going to be liable.
That's according to what Teddy Test said. But that's really, it really depends on how the decision's worded and how future courts will define that provision. That won't stop people from filing. That won't stop the DOJ.
I wonder if these justices are on Twitter also or no.
I know Justice Leonen is.
Marvic Leonen, but all the others, well, that's 14 of them. Wait, if on social media, this is something that Mrs. Unloy, by the way, I'm sorry, I forgot. Kiko's Twitter name is at Francis Acero, no?
Yes.
So, at Mrs. Unlawyer or Ana Santos, sorry, I said your real name, so pwede ka nang habulin. She was saying, if on social media you tweet something and you put a question mark.
Yes, that's...
Okay na yun. So you can say something that's almost libelous or really horrible and then just put a question mark.
Exactly. That's a big gray area that we have to go through. The criminal defense lawyer in me will say, now that can't be, because the interpretation always have to be in favor of the accused. But that won't stop people from filing. That won't stop people from actually making that baseless suit. So, and in this country, just filing the suit is enough to put a world of hurt.
Yeah. If you express an opinion, that can be libelous. How can an opinion be? Well,
that's another thing, no? The standards for what is libelous and what isn't are found in the other provisions of the revised penal code, not the provision that defines libel. The provision that defines libel is public or malicious imputation of crime, vice or defect, real or imaginary, blah, 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 blah. But it stops there. It doesn't say these are the exceptions for libel. It doesn't say, So that's a gray area that the court will have to go into at some later point.
Okay, if you put a hyperlink, this is something that Jojo Malig asked also on Twitter yesterday.
Right.
Put a hyperlink. Ano yon? Libelous na yon?
Exactly. It's a big gray area. I defend Jojo there, but I think I'd win. But again, the whole point is that it won't stop that guy who wants to silence the critic from filing against everyone.
Okay. We keep talking about this. I'm not the original author.
Right.
So you are free if you retweet or like or share or repost, no? But not the original author is not free to do so.
That's what I gathered. But until I see the text, you can't make it.
Okay. If that's the case, then everyone will be extra cautious.
That's the chilling effect that we see. And I think we've seen it. Betang Shoko started yesterday a non-libelous tweet.
Yeah. We'll go back to that in a little while.
Yes.
But okay, yung
hello everyone.
So if you share or like it, diba, and then you're not going to be held accountable, at least according to Teddy Test's explanation yesterday.
Right.
The so-called libelous material will still spread. Diba? Kasi okay lang yan, sige, tuloy.
Yeah, exactly. And the original guy will take it down, but there's the web archive where everything's stored.
Yeah, okay. Yesterday, Jojo Malig also said another question. I'm attributing it to you, Jojo. Can memes send you to jail?
Yes.
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 Okay.
If you're the author of the meme, if they can identify you as the author of the meme, again, this is where this whole thing goes haywire. The details. Attorney Trixie Cruz was saying earlier that there's this law that required the registration of pseudonyms will now be required to register all our internet aliases because of the cybercrime law. It really does open a can of worms more than it solves.
Okay.
And that's what we wanted to point out to the Supreme Court.
Yeah. I was just thinking that 2016, the elections won't be as exciting without the memes, diba? But anyway, pwede bang you retweet something and then parang appear to not agree with it? Like you retweet and then, quote tweet, tapos, oh, come on, yung mga ganon.
Right.
So may palusot ka pa.
Ideally. And the whole thing about libels, you take the whole thing in, you take the work as a whole. The other side of that coin is libel is determined by the feeling of the offender. So if the offender feels that you shouldn't have retweeted the picture anyway because it's unflattering, it makes me look like an unmentionable. So, then maybe the offended party might have a cause of action. But really, it's such a gray area right now.
Yeah. Is calling out a wrongdoing libelous? That could be the conclusion?
Under old jurisprudence, actually under the other provisions of the revised penal code, then the public exception can be found, where if you say something defamatory but it's for a higher purpose or public purpose, then it might not be considered libelous. But since the cybercrime law only adopted the definition of libel, I think Article 353 of the revised penal code, and that's it, then it's such a gray area. Again, the criminal defense lawyer in me will say that, okay, you can say that because we'll adopt all of those other things.
You can still argue that in court.
You can still argue that in court, but that won't stop them from filing the suit against you, which is what we're after.
Yeah. President Aquino today was quoted as saying, and we used the quote during the newscast, kung tama naman ang sasabihin mo, bakit ka kakabahan? Should we really not be afraid?
People in power have this idea that, if kung tama, that whole line, it's really scary. Even just on This American Life, and this is in the States, or this guy who just flaps his mouth too much. He says the right things anyway, but he just says them in this way. He gets, he gets hell for it. We should look back now that it's the EDSA anniversary is coming over, and remember the last time someone said, kung tama naman ang ginagawa mo, ba't kakakabahan?
Sino nga ba yun?
You know, so it's pretty ironic that, you know, that line would come from him.
Okay. So, you know, there were some comments on Twitter na siguro ang dami ng lalabas sa mga fictitious accounts, yung mga...
Actually, I think that the fictitious accounts will die.
Really?
Yes. Because, you know, our cybercrime division in the NBI, they're really good. I really don't think that they needed the cybercrime law in order to identify people. No, if you know, for
that's how they got that mountaintop
Right.
Christian
academy, right? Exactly. So for me, that proves the point that they really didn't need this to enforce our, you know, our child pornography law is very good. Our violence against women and children law is very good. They didn't need that.
Yeah.
The extra surveillance provisions to enforce it, and they were able to get these guys.
Okay. Is it too soon to ask a question about what remedies are available? What action will you take? Because, you know, you've been saying kanina, hindi pa nga natin nababasa yung actual
Yes.
na ano.
Yes. I mean,
So
because
it's-
a lot of the interpretation will depend on how the court writes its decision. And, well, if we have a say about it, we'll file our motion for consideration in due time based on that. So, you know, I mean, all we can do right now is speculate.
Okay. Yesterday morning, before the announcement came out, before Teddy had his press con, you tweeted, and I quote, "Nothing less than a complete repeal is acceptable." You still feel that way?
Yes. Yes, definitely. There's so many provisions in there. It's not just, you know, just as hacking. What's left? Hacking, cybersex, identity theft, computer fraud. I mean, the identity theft provision, for example, it makes Superstar Marian technically illegal. Because we all know that's not Marian, right? Or
Yeah.
Amanda Doronila
Okay.
on Twitter.
Yeah.
We know that's not Amanda
Yes, of
Doronila
course.
of the Inquirer, right? But it puts those guys in peril.
Okay. If the DOJ says it will amend the implementing rules and regulations, would that fix things?
If someone like Jojo, who's not a lawyer, knows that implementing rules and regulations can't fix a broken law, I mean,
Okay. You know, there were also comments, and medyo maingay din ang mga tao sa Twitter kahapon eh. Comments about how this law will impact post-2016, no? And, well, for one, Jojo Malik was saying, and we quote, "I just hope you won't have any regret about the law after 2016. Hindsight is always 2020. Yesterday, you said, if you think RA 10175 can't be used against you because you trust this administration, wait until 2016.
yes, I said that.
What did you mean by that?
Well, it all depends on who's next in power. And that's the whole thing with the Constitution, right? It's always a mistrust of power. I don't care who goes up next, but whoever's up next, if you don't like them, you don't like a policy, and you start saying something,
Mahirap na.
mahirap na. I mean,
Oo.
was it? I think just former Chief Justice Corona said that mahirap kalabanin ng presidente, and that's true. I mean, there's a reason why it's the most powerful office in the land. It's not there because he's just a figurehead. He actually has power.
And that's why you have to have this hashtag, not a libelous tweet.
Right, right. Again, you know, it's you know, in Budapest, when the communists were in charge, the people had to resort to humor in subversive theater and very veiled analogies to get their point across. We might enter that phase.
Well, we went through that, no, in the late 80s.
Yes.
I'm sorry, not late 80s, the early mid-80s.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
I think, and the last guys to do that were Jimmy Fabregas with 6 O'Clock News. But we might enter that phase again, where, you know, the people being parodied are so far from the sketch. I mean, the sketch is so far from reality, where, you know, you can say, na, okay, well, I just speak bato-bato sa langit.
Okay, okay. Or you really will be hesitant to say anything, or you'll be tweeting nice and
yeah, the light and bubbly side of life. Yes,
Yeah,
like what I had for dinner, and that will be everything on my Instagram.
and or where
yes.
you went shopping,
Yes.
etc. Or you will just choose to turn into a brown-nosed toady.
Yeah, yeah, that's not fit for.
Okay, so you really think that people are going to be more careful?
I think people will. It's not a matter of being more careful. I think people will be more,
Afraid?
yes, of hurting feelings. You know, we live in a society where, you know, it's just only recently where we've come to confront people who we've wanted to ask questions for a long time. It's just now. And now we have to go back to that deference to those who have power. That I think Maria Ress identified it as a power gap in our society. We might have to go back there.
Okay, okay. My last two questions. What do you have to say to Senator Tito Soto? That is not libelous.
Oh, I enjoy his show a lot. I've been a fan ever since I was small. That being said, I really think he can. You know, I think it's just his political point of view. I have, you know, I might think he's wrong, but you know, that's just policy. I hope he can start talking policy soon and stop talking personality. And when that happens, you know, let's join the table. Welcome to engage.
Okay. Engage. Engage is the word there.
Yes.
We shouldn't stop talking. We shouldn't stop dialoguing. But anyway, I'll just end with this. The professional heckler, one of
Yes.
those that you said, I enjoyed your blog. Para bang nagpapaalam
Yes.
lahat ng tao sa Twitter. Si professional heckler, meron siyang sinabi, we'll quote him na lang, para siya na lang mapatrouble, hindi tayo. His hugely popular and funny blog, and he said, and I quote, "Some people say overly sensitive politicians may harass me by taking legal action against this blog. Again, this blog does not insult politicians. This blog merely describes them." Ano yan? Libelous?
Libel is a public or malicious imputation of a crime, vice, or defect.
So
I think,
it does not
I don't think
fit.
so, but it's all in the in the eyes of the recipient anyway.
Yeah.
So if he feels slighted by it,
Who will feel slighted? As a politicians, di ba?
well, you know.
Well, that was just a trick question. Thank you very much, Attorney Kiko Acero. Final words. You have 20 seconds.
It's ironic that the timing of this decision from the Supreme Court, as we are one of the more vibrant democracies online. It's become a space where people get to ferret out the truth really fast. Other people have said this. And then comes this decision, and now people are silent again. If not silent, then people are thinking twice before saying something that might offend feelings. We're not in the business of feelings. We're in the business of policy. We're in the business of making each and every our lives better. If that means hurting feelings, then what are feelings?
Okay.
And it seems like the decision is overly complicated. It's just pass or fail. That being said, it might be time to take a look at other remedies, like having a law passed, like the Magna Carta for Philippine internet freedom. Laws that actually balance our rights, offline, online, make them equivalent.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you again, Attorney Kiko Acero.
Anytime.
And thank you for watching. I'm Pia Hontiveros. This is News.PH. See you again next Wednesday. Good night.